Right down on departure.
Right down on departure.
Woo!
Whoa!
Are you all right?
Oh.
How you feeling?
Badass, man. Awesome.
I get stoked when I get together with everybody, man. I just love the whole in real life meetup stuff. You guys just did the Nashville Tough Mudder as a bit of a challenge with the boys this weekend. Guys, that was just a new intro reel. Figured give you a little bit of a sizzler, a little trailer to what we get up to when we all get together. And that's just from our last meetup in Vegas. Flew planes, shotguns, race cars, lots of good food, just good times, man. Good times.
That's what it's all about. That's what I tell these guys, man. It's the meetups and doing stuff in person. The community is the backbone of what we do. So it's it's been a hell of a year. We just wrapped up the Tough Mudder. I just got back to Florida today, and we kind of power things down around the holidays. Guys got families and travel and things like that. But February hits and we're right back to it. So we have a huge slate of stuff for 2025 and beyond.
And speaking of guns, I'm going to share something. I just picked this up the other day. Got one of these bad boys, Smith & Wesson M&P FPC rifle. It's a 9mm rifle. You know why I got this, Moff? Because that what was that submachine gun that we shot? It was the MP5, I think it was called.
There was an MP5. There was an Uzi.
You weren't there for that.
Probably the MP5, but yeah.
Yeah, because you're stuck with the Hurricane thing. But there was an MP5 that they had there that was either semi or full, and that was such a nice gun, so smooth. 9mm in a rifled unit is really it's very accurate, and it's got enough punch. And I don't have one in the safe, so I wanted to grab one. So I picked up this 9mm Smith & Wesson FPC. So it's a folding gun, folds in half, so you can put it in your pack if you need to. If you got a bug out situation.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah, exactly. So actually, that MP5, Nick, is you can't buy them in full auto. They don't sell them to the public anymore. But the ones that transfer still, the guy was telling us they're like $43,000, right? And then we also shot the belt fed machine gun, which was just sick. We did the Russian ones and the American ones.
60,
yeah, lots of rounds we shot. We sent a lot of lead down range that day, man. That was a lot of fun.
Last hour, you guys were just burning through it. That's good stuff.
Yeah, that is totally legal in Canada. Mike, you can pick them up anywhere. It's a non-restricted long rifle. So as long as the barrel is 18 inches or longer, you're good to go. They make them 16 inches down in the States, so the barrel's a little bit shorter, but with a longer barrel, you're going to have a little more push and probably some more accuracy at the distance anyway, so it's good. Anyway, got a few things to chop up today. What do we have first? Election podcast is the first thing I put up. So I said this the other day. I'll state it here. I think this is going to be the first election in history where the outcome will be determined by the podcast interviews. And apparently Trump has announced that he's going to be doing a podcast with Joe Rogan. So we'll see if that materializes. I would actually like to see a little bit of a debate between Camilla and Trump in front of Joe and let Joe sort of
Oh my
moderate.
God, can you imagine?
I think that would be a really good session. A few people sent me the podcast interview with Patrick Bet David. I didn't watch it. I don't know if you saw it.
No, I didn't even know he went on there.
I was more interested in Graham Hancock. So Graham was on after Trump, and I've watched all the interviews on Joe Rogan with Graham Hancock. There's a guy that I've talked to on Twitter now that I'll probably have on again in the future for a podcast that's tight with Graham and knows a lot of the stuff. But his book, Fingerprints of the Gods, where he's talking about the pyramids and like, just go look at a few of the clips on PBD's podcast with Graham Hancock, and you'll be blown away, especially the stuff around Egypt and the pyramids. One thing that they didn't cover that he had talked about before and also covered in his book is they have some stones that are so massive that there is absolutely no way that you can even move them today. Like with the best equipment we have today, it would take 2 weeks to set up just one of these cranes. You can just move it from one spot to the other. And these were quarried something like 400 kilometers away. Wild stuff. But that's not really what I wanted to get into with the election podcast. But I'm telling you guys, this is the first time in history that you're going to see podcasts probably determine the outcome of the election. And it's finally here. Like their political teams are actually starting to do the right thing and put the communication in the hands of people that don't have gatekeepers. Not MSNBC, not CNN, none of that stuff. Not 3 or 4 against 1, but an actual conversation with somebody that's independent. And they can go on whoever's they want, but this is the first time that we've seen this now. So I'm excited about that. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I mean, people have been talking about Trump on JRE forever. And, it's the perfect time if it's the last big one that he does. I mean, he just went on Mark Calloway's or the Undertaker's podcast, 6 Feet Under. But she just gets, I mean, she even said like, oh, she might want to go on Trump after he announced that he would go on. And after, I mean, she had back, whether it's CNN and then Fox News, I mean, she absolutely crashed and burned on both of those, especially the Fox News one. And to the point there where she only lasted 30 minutes and her handlers were doing this, like wrap it up, because they were just pulling her. It's like a comedian getting yanked off stage.
Handled her really well.
He really did. And it's like, he wasn't going to back down. And it's just, I mean, man, it still baffles me how we even got here. This is, nobody voted to put her in this position. There's not a single, she never received a single primary vote. And I think he was, I don't know if this is true or just a rumor or hearsay, but Trump was saying something along the lines like, Joe, come on, get back in the race, like where you belong. Like, come on, me and you for old times. I'm wiping the floor with this broad or whatever. So, I mean, he's been doing the junket. He's been going around and put him on Trump 3 hours uncensored. But it's like, I don't know, man. It's hard not to like the guy. Just everything he does, everything he touches just turns to gold. It seems like he's just like the Teflon Don in a way. I mean, the McDonald's thing was absolute gold. And just, I don't know, just it's an iconic campaign that he's been running. If nothing else, to me, it's a masterclass in PR, if nothing else. I mean, and the polls are going in complete opposite direction. He's crushing her in all polls. Anything can happen, but I don't know. I just don't see how she can pull this one off.
Yeah. And he does a reasonably good job. In fact, even a great job, I would argue, of just doing the right thing and getting people to like him. But there's still a large contingent of people out there that just don't like him. And it's not like they're
single,
Camilla,
childless white women.
Or, well, I mean, there's still a lot of people that are like not really pro Camilla or whatever, but they're anti-Trump just because they don't like the guy, because it's like orange man bad still, like that,
right?
Like that lingering BO, like that like somebody farts like 20 minutes ago and it still sort of lingers around. It's like he's got this like lingering negativity about orange man bad still, in a few people, but it's, I don't know. Hopefully the outcome or the election outcome is going to be a good one, because things are either going to get a lot worse or they're going to stop getting worse. Let's put it that way.
That's pretty much the way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about Ayn Rand. I don't know if it's Ayn or Anne. Do you know who this chick is? She wrote a book called Atlas Shrugged. She's a Russian
Atlas Shrugged, yeah.
philosopher.
Mhm.
Okay, so I came across something here the other day, which I shared to get some feedback, and it's a quote, and I think this will be interesting to sort of dissect if this is her. But it says, "A man's sexual choice is the result and the sum of his fundamental convictions." Now, keep in mind again, she is a philosopher, okay, or she claims to be a philosopher. Tell me what a man finds sexually attractive, and I will tell you his entire philosophy of life. Well, what do men find sexually attractive? Curves, Coke bottle, like, you know, boobs and butt, basically TNA, right? So she's all of a sudden trying to turn this into, you know, it's about the brain and it's about fundamentals beyond just like the optics of sexiness and reproduction and reproductive health and stuff like this. This is what I'm getting at in a second. You'll see it, you know, more towards the end. And I would tell you his entire philosophy on life. Show me the woman he sleeps with, and I will tell you his valuation of himself. He will always be attracted. Again, sleeping with a woman and inviting a woman into your life as a relationship are two different things. He will always be attracted to the woman who reflects his deepest vision of himself, the woman whose surrender permits him to experience or to fake a sense of self-esteem. The man who is proudly certain of his own value will want the highest type of woman he can find. The woman he admires, the strongest, the hardest to conquer. Hardest to conquer sounds like difficulty. It sounds like disagreeableness. It sounds
Pain
like
in the ass.
It feels like boss girl sort of stuff. Like, a woman should not be hard to conquer at all, because only the possession of a heroine will give him the sense of achievement, not the possession of a brainless slut. Now, before we sort of dive into that, I want to, because not everybody knows who she is or what she looks like. So I'll show you a photograph here of her here. This is in her younger years. She's far from attractive when it comes to Russian women. I think she's probably the first Russian woman that I've seen that is actually attractive. And she even got worse in her later years, but she was well regarded. Like, you know, she was an icon of philosophers. A lot of people, actually, there's a lot of manosphere people that really like her stuff.
Yeah.
And they often reference Atlas Shrugged, which is the main book that she kind of got a name for. Share screen. This is her later in life with a little cigarette with an extension in her hand. But yeah, so the reason why I brought that up is I thought it was interesting because women, regardless of level of intellect, apparently, like, she had a very high IQ. Like, she wasn't stupid, and she was described as a philosopher. She didn't want to be seen as a beauty object, as a sex object, or any of those things. Women will always sell you whatever their virtues are, right? We saw it with the OnlyFans girl on one side, you know, of the spectrum. When we were doing ladies' night, we saw a lot of the OnlyFans girls like, oh, you know, I'm beautiful and all sort of thing, you know, buy my OnlyFans, right? They just want to focus on that. And they'll talk, but they sound like idiots. And then you've got this one over here, who's a philosopher, who's an intellect, who holds out to be an intellect, who's disparaging the brainless sluts, who says that you as a man want possession of a heroine. You as a man want the hardest to conquer. And then she goes on to disparage guys who choose to be intimate with women on a short-term basis, just sort of like pass on sort of thing. Very, very interesting dynamic I just came across there. So I just wanted to share that with you guys.
Well, it always boils down to, you know, a real man wants this, a real man wants that. A real man fits whatever I want for my own personal narrative at this given moment in this given time. That's really what it boils down to. And it's like, also, it's a false dichotomy. It's like, oh, this hard to conquer heroine or a brainless slut. Like, as if those are the only two types of women that exist in the entire world. So, again, I don't know where she's basing this off of, but it just goes to show that there's some folks out there that have some really good opinions on some things and completely off base and cuckoo opinions on other things.
Yeah. All right. So came across this. These I find fascinating. You know, these street interviews where they're asking college age women who they would vote for and why they would vote for them. So in this reel, it's 3 minutes, 24 seconds. And it's all these women are basically saying they want to vote for Kamala because of abortion, essentially, because they think that they're going to lose rights with Trump. But just check this out. It's fascinating.
Honestly, everything about her.
You just love her. She's
I don't love. I don't.
I don't need to love any like president necessarily, but I support her.
You're with Kamala, though.
I am.
All right. Do you plan on voting in the presidential election?
Yeah.
I already voted. You already voted? Who did you vote for?
Kamala.
Why do you like Kamala?
I just think she has a good plan for our country.
What do you like best about her plan for America?
Well, reproductive rights for women, for starters.
Do you know who you're voting?
He's got a really bad mic setup, so
Yeah,
he's
it's really
asking a
odd.
question.
Owen's
Trying to-
usually on his stuff, but
Yeah.
this is pretty tough.
yeah, but I mean, basically, her reason for voting for Camilla is reproductive rights for women, right? Like women want to maintain the right to have access to abortion.
Voting for? No. You don't know who you're going to vote for yet. What are the issues that might change your mind? Like economy. Some people talk about economy. They talk about the border. Some people talk about abortion. You think abortion will be your number one issue? Who are you guys going to be voting for?
Again, number
It's like
one
a child.
issue
He's got to
for
feed her the
choosing-
answer.
Yeah, for choosing a political candidate is to still have the right to, which Trump says you can do. He's like, I don't care. Let the states figure it out. He's like, I don't want to get
that's all it
involved, right? Is my understanding.
Harris. Both of you?
Yes.
And why do you like Harris?
Oh yeah, look at this soy boy here. This
Yeah,
is,
total high
watch
tea man
watch
right
the
there.
dynamic, between the two of them. It's like, if I'm a nice enough guy, if I'm a solid enough shoulder to cry on, maybe at some point she's going to want to be with me.
You think abortion will be your number one issue? Who are you guys going to be voting for? Harris. Both of you?
Yes.
And why do you like Harris?
I just like what she stands for. I like her as a person. She has personality. She's nice, and she believes that the majority of people should have rights, which is nice.
Are there rights that people are being denied that she's going to give them?
I mean, it's treatment, it's involvement in the military, trains people. Trump took them out of the military. There was
He's talking about trans in the military at this point now.
just
Was that true?
people, healthcare for women.
Are you going to be voting in the presidential election?
Yes, I am.
Who are you going to be voting for?
Where does something posted?
On my channel. I host a political talk show.
I'll probably be voting for Kamala.
Kamala? And what do you like about Kamala?
I
I don't know if you guys can see her T-shirt here, but it says Saturdays are for cocks.
Well, I'll clarify. That's she's probably a fan of University of South Carolina. Their mascot is the Gamecocks, or Cox for short. But yes, we are aware of the double entendre here.
Yeah, it obviously has more than one meaning.
Clearly.
feel like she's overall a lot more respectful of different groups within America. And I'm on a Zoom for my class right now, so I'm a little distracted.
Okay. Who do you plan on voting
Look how uncomfortable they all are. See, there you go, South Carolina.
Kamala Harris.
What about you?
Sure.
Not still undecided?
Sure, it's like herd animal sheep.
They're
She
so
said one, so I'm going to go
yeah.
for that too.
And why do you like Kamala?
My family's just Democratic, and I'm from the North, so
Okay. So you're just doing what your family has done for years?
like kinda, but also like personal views.
What views of Kamala's do you like?
Probably like abortion policy views.
Abortion? Any other issues that are key for you?
Not really.
Just abortion is the main issue?
Yeah.
Who are you going to be voting for?
Kamala.
Why do you like Kamala? Kamala, I'm sorry.
Oh my God.
Get it right.
We like her stances and views.
Like, which ones do you like the most?
Abortion, the stances just on
How many, why is it the
They don't
very
even know what
first
they're
thing out of
talking
their
about.
mouth is, I want to have an abortion, basically.
welfare in general. I don't think that Trump is really looking out for that as much.
So your big issues are like welfare, abortion.
Welfare.
More social issues.
Social
Although I
issues.
do think her approach to like the economic state and stuff is better also.
You like her economy policies better?
Yeah.
Do you think the economy has been better with the Biden-Harris administration or the
She doesn't
Trump
know.
administration?
I think
Biden
even
Harris.
if people said it wasn't better under the Biden-Harris administration, it was because of the policies Trump had set before.
So it was Trump's fault.
Yes.
Okay. Why do you like Kamala?
I just like her policies and her morals.
Like what policies of hers do you like?
I don't agree with. Wait, am I getting filmed?
Yes.
Can we not?
My God.
Man,
It's embarrassing.
like
They're all
operating
puppets. They're all
on
parrots.
3 brain cells between all of them, and it's like, and you look at the comments in this, and like, there's so many guys that are all repeal the damn 19th Amendment already, right? Repeal the 19th.
I would love for you to get Owen on the show. He'd be such a good get. I've been following that dude for years.
I just came across him recently because he had Destiny on, and
he debated him, right?
Yeah, he just ripped him a new asshole. Like Destiny.
Well, he got big. He was. I mean, I don't know if he was a big InfoWars guy back in 2016. He did a lot of the street interviews going around campuses. He got kicked off YouTube. He got kicked off all these channels. They just reinstated him back on Twitter this year after he'd been banned for like 7 years. So yeah, I mean, he's a really sharp dude.
I mean, this thing here says it all, right? You know, you put the you put the younglings in there on one side, they drain out the creativity and the intelligence, and you get all these NPCs that come out the other end from college, and that's just the reality of the world that we live in, man. That's just, you know, it is what it is. There's no critical thinking. There's no thought beyond. I mean, both political candidates, as far as I understand, will let you have rights to safe and effective abortion if that's really that important to you. But it's like they think that choosing the one that wasn't even nominated or elected, I don't know. It's just topsy-turvy, upside-down world, right? What are you going to do? They're never going to take women's voting rights away. They're just not going to do it. But I understand why people keep saying over and over again, repeal the 19th.
Sure.
All right, here's another one. Actually, I'm going to save this one for a little bit later because it's a little more, you know. Let's do the psycho one. Psycho one's good. So some people will say this is a skit. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But when you get to a seasoned gentleman age such as myself, you will have encountered a level of crazy like this a few times in your life. Maybe some of you have encountered it. Maybe some of you haven't gotten there quite yet. But almost all women have the capacity to be this crazy. I'm not going to tell you any detailed stories, but I've seen worse than this. So just pay attention because this is something that happens.
I saw this really cute guy at the grocery store the other day, so naturally I followed him to the checkout counter, and when he gave the cashier his credit card, I peeped it to see what his name was. And then I Googled him and found his social media profiles, and I was able to tell that he was single. So I went through his friends list and I found his mother's page. And then I looked through his mother's page and I saw that she was a member of this book club that's in my area. So I sent a request to join the book club. So I went to the book club meeting and I met his mom there, and we bonded over some books that we both liked. And she just thought I was so nice. And I brought it up randomly in conversation that I was single. And she let me know that she had a son that was single also that lived in the area. And maybe it would be cool for us to get together and chat sometime. So I gave her my number, which she gave to her son. And this morning he texted me and asked if I'd like to get together this weekend and do something. So I guess we're going to go on a date. I'm really excited.
I would love to see what happened after that. I mean, how did this not? What happens when he finds this?
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
my God.
I don't know. Like, is this chick a comedian? Does anybody know who she is? Because I don't
I've seen that clip before. I think it's absolutely real. I mean, even if it's not, again, it's like anytime we put something on here that's ridiculous, everybody loves to go fake stage, but it's like, you can't tell me that there's been crazier things that have turned out to be absolutely true. So why wouldn't this? Or maybe this particular case isn't true, but you're not going to convince me that this hasn't happened or wouldn't happen.
I've seen worse. I mean, I've personally seen worse than that myself, and I've seen other people deal with versions of that. It's a reality of female nature. They have the capacity to behave in that way. Like they train you when you deal with firearms, treat all guns as loaded. Just understand.
It's just everything that we see, the way that these women are operating, going back to like the abortion issue really quick, but it's like women want to convince us so badly that not everybody cares about finding a man and being in a relationship and having kids isn't the most important thing. But when you talk about your issues and what you care most about as women, it's always abortion, which, let's just be clear what that is. They want to protect their ability for open hypergamy as much as possible. They want to reserve the right to eliminate a potential child with a guy that they don't want to be with or have a child with. So, I mean, where are your priority? All these boss babes out here running around getting degrees in their liberal arts college degrees and doing PowerPoints. You'd think that women that are so in tune with that would care about the economy, or they would care about anything else other than that. But their monkey brain always defaults back to men and relationships and being chosen and children. So it's just very interesting to me that the narrative that they try to spew and they tell on themselves unknowingly.
Yeah, they really opened up a big can of worms when they introduced safe and effective abortion, didn't they?
Indeed.
I don't think they're ever going to take that away. It's a really, really important topic. Speaking of that, let's see what else we got over here in my list. Okay, we've got the tattoo one. Let's do the tattoo one next. So I've been telling you guys about tattoos for ages. What have I been saying to you guys about red flag number 10, tattoos and piercings?
You got to go full screen on this one.
Got to go full screen. But before I do, you guys, I'm going to put the ticker up because you need to get on my email list if you're newer to my stuff and you haven't read my book. You can download the chapter on red flags for free. Just opt in at entrepreneursandcars.com/red-flags. Going full screen. Full-ish screen. Anyway, here you go.
Before you play this, actually pause real quick.
Yeah.
I'm actually a fan of Ink Master. I watch the show. I used to watch it all the time. I remember watching this live and it was unbelievable. This is like my Super Bowl. This was like one of the funniest things I've ever seen. So I just want everybody to prepare yourselves. And if you're not paying attention or you're listening in the background, you want to watch this.
Yeah. So just pay attention here because this 45-second clip is awesome.
Draw.
And you can't even execute.
You knew your drawing sucked,
man,
and you still tattooed it on that person.
I did exactly what he wanted.
Like, don't you have any integrity?
He was happy with it. I'm fine.
It's not about what they're happy with. It's about what the judges are happy with.
Listen, dude, I'm done with it.
Dude, you've been done.
I'm still here.
For what? Why? Because you just want to be a asshole.
You're right.
Then why the would you be in this competition,
here.
Bone Face?
Why do you look 50 and you're 24?
What? What did you say? Go yourself, you piece of poor excuse for a tattooer.
We're talking about the
only
integrity of your
reason
work.
that you would
Listen.
say anything that has
Listen.
nothing to do with tattooing. You said you don't give a about
small
and give
things
you,
I
I
don't.
give you
You
a
can't
bad
tattoo
review.
with
You
should
say
just
get
get
the out of here.
Now, if you rewind till right when he says that, you see one of the guys go like turn to the wall so they can't see him laugh.
Yeah, these
right
guys.
there. Yeah.
Wait,
right
here.
here. Oh my god.
Here.
Bone Face,
Why do you look 50 and you're 24?
What?
That guy covers his face because he doesn't want to laugh.
Turns away from the camera.
Did you say?
This guy turns away to laugh at the wall. Both
I
of them
remember
almost.
watching this live.
Both of them.
I lost it.
Yourself.
Oh my god.
Anyway, what have I been telling you guys about women that are covered in tattoos, right?
Brutal, man.
Red flags. Red flags. Stay away from them.
Oof.
I mean, I'll say it again. You can deal with them. You can invite them into your life, but your life will be that much more difficult than the guy that avoids that potential chaos. So choose wisely. You have the right to reject problems in your life. All right, let's do this one over here. This is one of those Reddit posts, where they're past catches.
Oh, great. Can't wait.
I'll read it. Some of you may not be able to see it, but apparently title of this one says, guy I'm dating received old videos of me giving someone oral sex. I'll read my caption afterwards. It's pretty short when it says, been dating a guy. He's 26 now for 3 months. He's honestly such a gentleman. And we spend lots of time together in person over text call. Recently, somebody anonymously sent him a video of me doing oral to a guy I had met at a lounge club, whatever you want to call it. I know it was awful that I did that within 45 minutes of knowing him. That's not that uncommon, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies know, gentlemen maybe not know, but it's not that uncommon that something like that can go down 45 minutes after they first meet in an environment where there's alcohol and or drugs, and the whole whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas stuff, the line that you all hear about and know. Known him, but I was in a dark place at that time. So apparently she was in a dark place at that time when she
literally
formed fellatio. And I needed some healing. So apparently this is This is the way that the gals will heal, fellas.
Healing in this situation is code for dick.
Yeah. This guy in question ended up being my FWB for a year or so. In the video, I say some really dumb stuff like, once you go black, you never go back. Once you go Greek, you won't sit for a week, baby. Just some dumb stuff, honestly, right? And he finished in... I can't read these with a straight face, Mom. Someone sent this to my ex, and I have no freaking idea who. I reached out to my former FWB, and he said he had no idea he was, as he was in a relationship now, and his face couldn't be seen in the video. Anyways, the guy I've been seeing got really upset and accused me of using him for time and money and withholding sex for 3 months. You see the difference in the timeline. Alpha male, 45 minutes. Beta male, 3 months. Which, by the way, is false. I'm just not comfortable being intimate so soon without a commitment. Like, really? We have kissed, however. I need to know who filmed the video and how to convince this guy I'm dating that this is a completely different version of me. I've grown as a lady since then. Thoughts, please. Anyway, she knew she was being filmed was my caption. So playing the victim in the chaos that she created here is it's just laughable. I get tired of seeing stuff like that. Never ever take a woman seriously that gives away her best after 45 minutes to a total stranger in a nightclub, but makes you wait 3 months. But she was in a dark place, and that can lead to some erroneous behavior, apparently.
Whoever sent that video just did that guy a favor. I mean, might suck, it might hurt, man, but you dodged a bullet, you know. But you don't know that yet. You don't know
I
that
don't
yet.
think he's going to respond to it positively. He'll probably just stick around.
Who would? Oh, God.
After he just cucked himself and watched this chick. All right. You've probably seen this one before, but it bears reminding. Men and women's divorce stats are approximately 50%. Homosexual male divorce stats are 28%. Lesbian female marriages, 72% divorce rates. Problem ain't the guys, ladies. It's y'all. It's the ladies. If women can't stay married and 72% of those end up in divorce, it's not the dudes. But this has been mentioned several times.
Well, this is an interesting argument that I hadn't even thought about until I saw it. Because the common argument, look, the stats are the stats. Women leave men in divorces anywhere from 70 to 80% of the time. But you bring that stat up, and then you start with moving the goalposts and special pleading, and you'll hear women say, oh, well, that's because it's the man's fault. It's because he was, abusive, or he, blah, 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 or whatever it is. Like, no matter what, it's her leaving is because of the man did something his fault. So it's a reaction to something. It's a justified reaction. Well, then you can turn around and say, okay, well, let's look at domestic violence cases, for example. So if a dude hauls off and hits his woman and puts her through a wall, that's inexcusable, but we're not allowed to say, well, what did she do to get him to that point? You see how the logic sort of fails there? So she can leave the man and say it's his fault. She pushed him to do it, but a man can never say she pushed me to knock her freaking chin off. So, I mean, try to reconcile that one.
All right, here's another interesting one from you, from the wokeness crowd. Title of this is "White Guilt is a Mental Disorder," and we have a video here. A bunch of white dudes, for Harris probably, bending the knee. The black crowds, like this girl's crying. I'm not really sure why. Crazy, huh? Apologizing for what? Like slavery ended in 1865. What is it that they are actually apologizing?
They're like renouncing their whiteness, I've heard. Well, it's like they renounce their whiteness. They apologize for being white, for whatever that means. I mean, and I've seen that, and it's like, my God, man. I mean, what do you, it blows my mind. I mean, it's this self-flagellation. It's this just idea that, and here's the thing. There's no satisfaction. Once you start down that route and you start giving that away to folks, they have that power over you, and there's no satisfaction. They always want more. That's not enough, right? Now they've got you. it's kind of those guys that fall for those text bot scams or those OnlyFans scams or whatever. And it's like, you know, what some of these people will do, they'll pretend to be a chick, they'll send videos and stuff, and they'll get the guy to send some videos back. It's like, oh, like, I want to see you do XYZ ABC, like very embarrassing stuff that you would not want people to see. And then they go, gotcha, if you don't send me X amount of dollars right now, and they manipulate screenshots of your social media, and they say, oh, I'm going to send this and broadcast this out to all of your friends, your family, your social media followers. It's going to ruin you unless you send money. Well, it's like, the minute that you kowtow to that and you send the person the money or whatever, you think it's over. No, they'll never leave you alone. It's always going to be more and more. Once they've got their hooks in you, you are done forever. So it's just, and who are you apologizing for? Like, what? I'm sorry. I wasn't around. I wasn't born. Never owned slaves.
You weren't around. Your dad wasn't around. Your granddad wasn't around. Your great granddad probably wasn't even around at that time either. Right. But that's the mental conditioning that they push. The other thing that I saw this week, and I didn't save the video, but there was a clip of this guy, black dude with dreads in a casino. I think his name's Prime or something.
I did see that. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you see that? Where it was like intentionally walking into white dudes and calling them crackers. And
he ran into a woman. I thought she was a guy was walking with his chick, and he literally like bumped into her and like it's hard enough that made her spin around.
Yeah.
And he turns around and starts screaming.
Yeah, there was some video of about 4 or 5 of them, and I mean, it's all fun and games until you bump into the wrong guy and he clocks you one, you know, for being a dick. But yeah, these things are getting out of hand, and I'm seeing it a lot on socials now. I got this other one over here. It's more of a question, you know, than anything else. So I wanted to ask people, men more specifically, men only, what's the sexiest thing that a woman can wear? And these are some of the responses that I got. Well-dressed, modesty is sexy. Obviously, you know she's an attractive gal. You don't need all the skin exposed, right? Lululemon pants are undefeated. Can never go wrong there as long as she's an attractive gal. Summer dress, no or little makeup, headbands, minimal makeup, sundress, flats, sundress, no underpants. Just simplified things. You know, nothing is always good too, right? Elegant, classy, covered up, summer dresses. Tight jeans, fitted shirt, humility, right? Shyness, yes, shyness. My shirts, yeah. So, you know, I always find it interesting, you know, when you ask the guys on socials, you know, what they think is hot or what they find attractive anyway. And most of it's just modesty, really. It's fascinating.
Well, be in shape first and foremost. I mean, those are caveats. It's like, yeah, I don't want to see a woman that's 250 pounds wearing yoga pants.
Yeah.
Tight pants, this and that and the other. You know, the sexiest thing a woman
the
can
rule
wear
for
is in shape body,
pants, right?
Enlighten us.
You must weigh less than the animal that they represent.
So elephant pants are on the
so
table.
If you're wearing leopard print pants, a leopard's maybe 150 pounds. You got to weigh less than 150 pounds.
Etch it in stone.
So I got another one over here. So have you ever heard of the loyalty test, Moff?
No, I don't think I know what that is.
And we got a couple of guys waiting for us in the green room to call in and ask questions. We'll get to those in a little bit. You can just, you know, sort of stick around and watch from there if you want, but the link's pinned up at the top of the chat. So loyalty test is where you ask somebody to loyalty test your girl to see what she's going to do. If he's like going to slide into her DMs, right? Now, if I'm being honest, if you take any popular person and he's handsome and he slides into your girl's DMs, I think the vast majority of them will probably respond to them, especially if you're a lower tier or a lower caliber guy. And this guy is influential, handsome, rich, all that sort of stuff, right? Like status has a lot of pull when it comes to women. So I want to show you this clip over here. This guy, he's a TikToker with about 3 million follows. I've seen some of his stuff before. It's pretty funny. But this is more of a serious post because he had just a follower ask him to test his girl, and this is what happened.
This is why I cannot trust a woman.
Back it up, sorry.
This is why I cannot trust a woman. Some guy messaged me and he said, "Hey man, I want you to do a loyalty test on my girlfriend." So he goes to me in Greek. He wants to continue and pursue this relationship, but he's unsure. So he wants to make sure she's loyal. I go to him, I got you on this one, bro. So he sent me her Instagram. I went on her profile. She looked like an innocent girl. I messaged her. I go to her, hey. She goes, hey. Off the bat, she responded to me. Red flag. How's your day going, love? I'm resting, blah, blah, blah. She's engaging in a conversation. I sent him the messages. He said, keep going. I go, where are you from? She responded, we're talking. I have the same plans to come to Greece because I told her I was in Greece. So then the conversation continues. You come to Romania, I'll come to Greece. What big plans you already have for me? Oh, she's down with it. She put that angel emoji. She is not a good girl. This is when my heart broke. I sent him the messages again. He goes, please continue, please. I can barely hold my tears right now. I was working hours to provide for her for some good holidays. So he also sent me a conversation between them two. She sent him this meme. She's probably talking to someone else, me. Long story short, the conversation continued. She's talking about planning to hang out with me. And at the end, she goes, you're already making cocktails for me to come over? I'm just glad I opened this guy's eyes and he didn't pursue this girl.
There you go. That's the loyalty test. But again, you know, you pick a good-looking stud like that that's got a huge influential following on social media and a blue check mark with a few million follows, DMs your girl, she's probably going to talk to him. A really good girl, you want to loyalty test a chick? Get an icon with a blue check mark and a huge following to message your girl. And if she ignores him or tells him to pound sand, marry her. That's it. She's not going to leave you. As long as you don't fuck up, she's not going to leave you. Moff, the wheels are turning. You're going to get somebody.
It's just,
girl.
Yeah, right. It's brutal, man. It's just like, I mean, you know, you can't be mad at them for what they are. You just got to accept it. I mean, there's nothing else to say. I mean, the only thing you can do is just be as best you possibly can and try to be your best option, man. But it's you know, the monkey branching is a real thing. Hypergamy is a real thing. So, I mean, we don't have a lot of backstory. We don't have a lot of this and that. I mean, we don't know if they were actually in a relationship or if they were at whatever stage. But I mean, you know, most women out there are willing to entertain,
to provide a good vacation, right?
Well, I mean, maybe that's the problem. Maybe she doesn't want a guy that has to work his ass off. She wants a guy that's already got it like that. So
yeah, that's
they
why
don't build, they move in.
If you're working your ass off to provide a good vacation for a girl and trying to save up some money, and a Chad slides into her DM, she's probably going to respond to him. Like, let's just be honest. Like, a lot of guys get upset when girls leave guys and they ditch them and they move on. But at the end of the day, the only reason why she's leaving you or has left you is because she thought she could do better.
Yep.
She genuinely thought that she could do better.
And whether she can or cannot is irrelevant.
Right.
It's just the idea that she thinks she can. Whether she actually can do better is irrelevant. But if she thinks she can, that's pretty much it.
That's it. What else we got here? I have that. No, I think we might have got them all. Let's just break real quick and run the ad reel, and then we'll start taking some call-ins. I got one more visual for you just to give you a little bit of a nice little hey, how you doing? Right?
Go for it.
Where is my ad reel? Here we go. We'll be back in like a minute a bit. This episode is sponsored by richcooper.ca. Brothers, if you're like me and take what you put in your body seriously, you're going to want to use the Unplugged Alpha supplement line. An obsession with absorption is what sets this line apart from the others. You want to make sure that you absorb as much of the supplements as possible so you don't end up peeing out expensive urine. My supplement line is made in the United States from the highest quality domestic ingredients, and unlike cheap supplements from China in plastic bottles, mine ship in dark glass bottles to keep your supplements fresher, longer, and won't seep endocrine disrupting plastics into your supplements. Nothing is a hard tablet. Everything is in an easily digested, bioavailable capsule. You can filter all products by their various categories, including testosterone support, estrogen metabolism, fat burning, immune health, sleep support, and performance. Visit theunpluggedalpha.com/shop and use the subscribe and save option over here to get 10% off your supplement order, or use coupon code ALPHA10 for 10% off a one-time order to try it out. Men, if you want to know everything that I know today that I wish my dad taught me in my 20s, join the School of Unplugging. There are over 30 hours of lessons currently, a well-organized discussion board, and weekly Zoom calls held by experts with backgrounds in strength, nutrition, finance, investing, and entrepreneurship, all for one low monthly membership. Visit richcooper.ca and on the courses tab, hit the School of Unplugging and get started here. Guys, make sure you visit my website for my communities, requesting a private one-on-one consultation, or learning about my future events. And don't forget to opt into my email list over here to get my newsletter. Let's get on with the show. Let's get on with it. Yeah, if you guys want to chop it up, the call-in link is pinned at the top. We lost those.
Yeah, we had one.
Yeah, okay, that's fine, whatever. So the queue's empty. If you guys have any questions you guys want to chop up, anything you want to discuss, any question you want to pose to us before we wrap up. Speaking of before we wrap up here, I got a little something for you. Saved it for you guys to the end, because with all this political crap and war crap and Jew hate stuff that you're seeing on social media, I got something that'll put a little smile on your face. How about some tatas walking down the beach for you? Okay, how's that?
There you go.
Savages. There you go.
Little refresh.
Little
timeline refresh.
All right, little timeline refresh to get rid of some of the other nonsense. Anyway, it is what it is. Hey, if you guys don't want to chop it up and talk about anything, that's good. No problems. Wednesday, I got a really good show for you on the Unplugged Alpha. I've talked to insiders before that have worked with dating apps, and there's a really interesting post that I came across the other day that really breaks down why you don't want to spend money on dating apps as a guy. And it really echoes and totally solidifies what I talked about in my book when I wrote this several years ago. What I talked about has come true. So I want you to tune in Wednesday. I'll be live at noon, and got some real solid insight for you. Anything you want to say before we wind it down, brother?
No, man. I won't be on next Monday. I've got some moving and some things going on. So the next time you guys will see me will be November. But yeah, no, I mean, I posted today about the Tough Mudder, working on some end of the year meetup, sort of wrap up highlight videos, and I'll crone on about it all day, man. If you guys are still on the sidelines and watching and you're waiting for the right time to join, there's never a better time than now. So we are really building this thing up, and we'll have some guys probably on in the next couple weeks towards the end of the year to kind of talk about experiences and some of the stuff that we did this year, and hope that you guys will answer the call and get on board and join. So Claudia asked about Moff's Hours. Moff's Hours is on an indefinite hiatus as of the moment. So unsure if I'm going to bring that back. And if I do, it'll probably be at a different day and time slot, just because the majority of the time that I travel for meetups, I leave on Thursdays. So I can't do the show anyway. So TBD, but I'm leaning towards not, but we'll see. If I have something that pops up and something that I want to do a show on, I feel strongly enough of, I will. But more than likely it'll be sporadic rather than regular.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Let me grab a couple of these questions that I've just scrolled up here and saw. Have you guys ever covered when men initiate divorce? The reasons a man finally decides to leave are pretty wild. Women initiate 70 to 80% of the time. It's 80% or higher if they're college educated and if they're making more money than their husband, which is kind of stupid, because if they do untie the knot, she'll end up giving money to him. Guys don't really... If a guy leaves a marriage, it's not a very good marriage. Men generally don't untie the knot. It's too costly for them. They're more tolerant of stuff. There's no eat, pray, love for guys. There's no, there's some greener grass somewhere else. You should just go and explore that and have fun, girl. There's no narratives like that going on for guys. So guys, it's got to be bad. She's very abusive. There's no intimacy. It's going to be bad. Let's just put it that way. There's another one over here I wanted to get to. What do you think of Andrew Tate? Would you have him on your podcast? I've already had him on 2 or 3 times. I've had Tristan on at least once, maybe twice. You can go look at the Playing to Wins. And if you get on my email list, there is a private Zoom that I did with Tristan on his strategy, how he kind of runs like multiple baby mamas and has families with them all, and how he sets that all up. You can go check that out. That'll pop up on my email list if you want to see that. And there was another one dude was asking about. I missed it. Did I miss it? All right, let's take this call in real quick, Moff, if you want. Jenna,
Yeah.
pull him in. All right. Gin and
he on?
tonics. Gin and tonics is what it says. I think we've had this guy on before, no?
Yeah, we had him on last week or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago, guys.
What's happening, man?
Yeah, good. How are you guys? Do you hear me
Good.
okay?
What's
Good,
going
man.
on?
What's
What
up?
do you got
Yeah.
for us? Yeah.
Cool. I was wondering if you could give me your opinion on this. I came across this really interesting. I was watching this presentation by a guy who was talking about evolutionary psychology, and he was talking about men and women. And he came up with this. I've heard this so many times before. I don't know if you guys have heard it, but that women have this superpower where they can multitask. That is, they can do multiple things at the same time, or they can concentrate on things, different things, and men can't do it. Men are very single tasking. Have you guys ever come across that before? Ever heard that before?
Women can multitask.
Can't.
And men can't.
I mean, how many women have you seen put on their makeup at a stoplight when they're driving? That's like is that multitasking?
I suppose it is. I was more along the lines of if you've ever sat down at a table and there's half a dozen women and they're all talking at exactly the same time, and they can all hear each other's conversation. But if you're sitting there listening to it, you can't follow anything.
Yeah, your audio's messed up, Jen and Tom. You gotta kill your video stream. Okay, that's not gonna work.
Dude, guys, come on, give us a fucking break. If you guys are gonna call in, be respectful to the show.
Or if you're
be somewhere where it's quiet,
not strong, just kill the video so that you're using the bandwidth just for the audio. Yeah, but we can't. Yeah, we can't try to hold you.
It's terrible
on if it's bad like that. But yeah, like his question to the matter of, do men and women multitask differently? I mean,
who cares?
I'm well, there's that too. But then I'm always looking at drivers, and I find it fascinating that women purportedly get lower insurance rates because they're better drivers, right? And it's like they do the dumbest shit. Like I see it all the time. They're in a parking lot, they back into something. I've never dated a girl that hasn't had scratches and scuffs all over her freaking car. The bumper's got a hole in it. It's scuffed in the front or something like that. I remember I dated this chick once. The entire rear quarter panel of her stupid convertible was all crushed in because she backed into something. I don't know. I mean, driving is a multitasking thing because you're usually driving and listening to music, or you're talking, listening to a podcast, whatever it happens to be. I don't see it like the whole women are better multitaskers. Women,
but also, who cares? I mean, it's like, is that
like
somehow
why?
a virtuous trait? Is that a positive thing? It's like, it seems like it's a relatively innocuous thing in general. So it's okay. Like we grant you that women are better multitaskers. Now what? What are we supposed to do with that? So
you're good at painting one toenail red and the other one yellow. I mean, whatever. I don't know.
Anyways,
what's the big deal? Can you make two sandwiches at the same time? That'd be impressive. I was watching a Patrice O'Neill clip before the show on Instagram. Somebody sent it to me, and he's talking about a blumpkin or something like that.
Oh my God.
You know what a blumpkin is, eh?
Yeah, I do. Indeed.
Yeah. Well, there's an example of multitasking. You guys can go look up blumpkin on Google.
You heard it here first.
What that is. There's your homework before we go. Go and Google blumpkin, and then after you do, you can put it in the comments, and but don't blame me. You can blame Patrice. All right.
That's right.
Anyway, we'll see you guys soon. I'll be on Wednesday. And I'll let you know about next Monday. If Moff's off, I might skip it and just do my Wednesday show instead of doing two solo shows next week. But get out there. The weather is amazing. Tomorrow I'll probably be out driving because it might be the last good one for the season. Maybe I'll grab the GoPro and put a little video together for you guys, do a little bit of a rip for a few hours. Anyway, see you guys later. All right, guys, if you enjoyed that podcast, make sure you visit my website at richcooper.ca to learn more about my courses, my book, The Unplugged Alpha, community, or booking me for private coaching. Also, if you are a Canadian with $15,000 or more of credit card debt and what you are doing right now isn't paying off the balances, then visit totaldebtfreedom.ca and hit get a free quote to see if you qualify to settle your credit card debt for less than you owe today over the next 48 months. Make sure you check out the top pinned comment on YouTube for all the links mentioned during the show. Peace.